Hi, thanks for watching. In this video we're going to take a drive out on a sunny day and talk about happenstance. What is it and how can it possibly happen? How can it possibly work? It's very, very difficult for most people to accept that the happenstances, the little things that kind of come along out of serendipity, it's very difficult for people to believe that that could be guided or orchestrated in any way. But when you really get down to thinking about it, it has to be. And how can it possibly happen? I don't know, and I don't know anybody who does know. But all I can say, because it's the real truth, is that it has everything to do with the law of attraction, with the idea of creating our own future, visualizing what we want and believing that it's going to happen. For example, right, things can depend on other people as well as ourselves. For example, I've visualized a long time ago that I wanted to make wood and crystal wands to sell, and I'm happy to say it sort of happened. It can go for quite a long time in between, and luckily I sell other things as well, because wands are a kind of a magical thing, and a wand suits a particular person and there's a particular time for it. Going on from that, I have actually made this wand. Look, and here it is. It's better looking than this. This is just the box that it comes in, but it's actually on its way to Holland now. And so just the fact that I'm making this video right at this moment, on this exact day, at this exact time, with everything that's going on around as it is, just as nature is as we find it. To me, it's random. I've come out at a random time, but I wouldn't have come out at this time if that person hadn't ordered the wand, if that person hadn't wanted the wand to be exactly the way they do want it. It might have taken a different length of time. I might have been out posting it yesterday. I'm not going to be out posting it tomorrow because it's Good Friday, but that is all part of the happenstance. And since I'm going out all over the world, I will explain that Good Friday is traditionally the I don't really want to call it a feast or a festival, but it's when people remember the time of Jesus being crucified on the cross, basically. So we have a big holiday, certainly in UK, because everybody loves Jesus so much, don't they? Hey, hey, hey. I do, actually, and I expect a lot of you can understand why. But look around at the world, isn't it crazy? All these people say, well, I haven't really got time to kind of believe in God or anything like that. Life is too busy these days. We've got to get on with it. Oh, it's Jesus, something to do with Jesus. We've got to have a holiday because we're so religious. Oh, I don't buy it. But, people do need holidays, whatever happens. And that really is a bit of happenstance that we've got this holiday system set up, and it's run for so long that kind of no politician, nobody even kind of questions that we need holidays from time to time. We really do. So there we are. We haven't even reached the top road yet, and I've already outlined several things about this very moment in time that could have been very different very easily. And I'm very happy. It's great. But, I didn't really know I was going to be out on this beautiful morning doing this. I'd like to give you the choice, guys, but we've got to go this way, okay, because this is where the post office happens. And there is another level of it altogether, which post office to go to. There are actually 3 that I could go to. They're all about the same distance from my house. But I'm going to one in particular that I trust. She's good at getting things to international destinations. We used to have much better postal service than we've got. And that's no kind of disrespect to the people who actually work in the British Postal Service, the Royal Mail at the moment. They're a great lot, but there's this whole thing going on about what we call privatisation. In other words, take it out of public ownership and give it to rich people, and for some reason everyone thinks that's the best thing to do. Yet another bit of happenstance there though, folks, because that has just kind of been the political way in the UK really since kind of late 1970s, early 1980s. And I noticed from watching the news around the world that actually it's been the case in a lot of places. Happenstance though, in a really, really big way, because it's affected most of my adult life in that sense, I was in my late teens in the late 70s. Now here we are in 2019. I can hardly believe it, and I'm in my 50s, and it's still that way. It seems to be changing slightly, and there are big changes coming as we go forward to 2020, really big changes. But, you know, not to dwell on anything like that in terms of the details of it all, but that is all the kind of things that we face, the kind of things that are going on in our world, and they're all a big part of the happenstance. They really are. If again, you know, if the lady for whom this wander's been made didn't have any money this week, it would have been next week, and you know, so how much money people have got and how quickly things happen are all tied into it as well. It's a real mixed bag, and it becomes very difficult to imagine. I think this is the main reason it seems so strange. It becomes very difficult for everyone to imagine that somehow spirit guides and the universe and whatever the influences are somehow going to be able to sort everything out for us amidst this kind of hugely confusing situation which the world finds itself in these days. But somehow it does, and it's a constant thing, and it's a reliable thing. It doesn't change, you know. They say that God never changes, and I think this is actually part of it, something of the kingdom of heaven here, because they aren't subject to the same kind of worldly things that we're subject to, and they are able to make these things happen. I thank God for that all the time, actually, because it's true for me, and I bet it's true for you. If you look back somewhere in your life, you took a turn, you made a decision, which is kind of, if you hadn't made that decision, you would never have ended up where you are here today. I could think back to when I was 16 and I joined the forces, and that's what brought me to Wales, UK, and I like it in Wales, so I stayed here after I left the forces. And I remember that was one evening walking home from school. I think I had something to eat, fish and chips or something, and walking past an Army and RAF careers office, and just thinking, I'd like to be part of that. I was coming up to leaving school, I needed some work, and that really was a spur of the moment decision. Within a few weeks, I was actually in the RAF, the British Royal Air Force, and that's had a lot of effect on the kind of person that I've become as I've gone through life, and it's a massive effect on where I live, you know. The thing about happenstance, the thing about serendipity, though, is that it just comes along, and it's nearly always something to do with other people, or something to do with another situation that we maybe weren't even thinking about. I'm particularly up on this road now. I'm thinking about a time, decades ago, when my car broke down up here, and I had to go a long way, and a friend of mine just turned up. A van came along, and I thought I recognised that van, and yeah, it was a guy called Vaughan, fine Welsh name there, Vaughan. He just suddenly appeared out of nowhere, and he got me home, and the next morning he managed to get my car back for me as well, because he had a van, and that saved me so much money, you know, which was great because I didn't have much money. But that is all, you know, everything to do with that happenstance for me is also happenstance to do with Vaughan and his van. And you know, if his van hadn't worked that day, he might not have been out there. If he'd been busy doing something else, he might not have been out there, but somehow it happened. And guys, if you think back about things like that have happened to you in your life, you know, things where you've really thought, wow, what are the chances of that, kind of shut the front door thing, because it's so amazing. Think about it, guys. There's always other people involved when it's a real kind of deep human thing like that. I suppose there have to be people involved when it's a human thing anyway, don't they? Don't know why I said that. I don't know why I say a lot of this stuff, but there's another happenstancey thing, another bit of serendipity. I've never got any idea why I'm saying this stuff. Sometimes someone leaves me a comment or sends me an email and tells me that something incredible has happened to them, maybe on the other side of the world, and it's not necessarily because of something I've said, but something I've said has allowed them to come, as a psychic, you know, has allowed them to realise that something was coming in, something they weren't expecting. And here we are at Croisland Post Office. Let's just turn off those blinking indicators and post the one. Dun, dun, dun. The last thing you expect kind of shows it's a bit miraculous. It makes it kind of really show the mysticism of what's actually going on around us, because it is a mystery. I mean, just because it shows through doesn't make it any easier to believe, or doesn't make it any less mysterious, put it that way. Does make it a bit harder to believe, to be quite honest, but you know, it's when how many times have you heard someone say, wow, that was unbelievable? And you know, that's what it's about. Things really do kind of happen that way. And so much is brilliant and positive when we allow it to be. And part of that allowing it to be is actually believing in our hearts that things can change for the better. That really brings happenstance on a lot quicker in my experience. But that's another thing, you know, it's because the energy is ready. And when the energy is ready, then again, we can expect help to come in. Now I'm off the road, I'm allowed to be seatbeltless. So there we have it, folks. I hope I've said something there that can help along the way. It's all about the energy of the moment. That's the main thing. It's also about asking for what you want. It's also about believing that it can happen. But I've known people who suffer from depression who can't believe a good thing's going to happen. I've been there myself, actually. And yet still good things happen. Something sometimes has to come out of nowhere to actually uplift us so we can actually rise above life's problems. So sure, I'm sitting in my car here going la-di-da-di-da, everything's beautiful. It isn't always, I know. But the help, the support that we've got behind us in this world is immensely powerful if we can only just come to believe that it's there. And then the challenge is to keep believing it's there. But there we go. I'm sure it's all good. That's my take on it. If I didn't think that, why would I be telling you? Well, guys, thanks very much for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. If you haven't, you know what to do. Subscribe, please, and tap that bell. I'm on a real subscriptions drive at the moment. Trying to get to 1,000 subs, because then I can go back to actually going live on YouTube and reaching people that way. And that seems to have been what brought most of us together in the first place. It can't go on for a little while just because I'm kind of not quite up to 500 subscribers yet. Very, very close to that though, and thanks everyone who's subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed yet, get subscribing. Leave me a comment, we'll share the journey. Thanks a lot for watching, friends. See you soon. Bye.